At first glance, the Telluride real estate market might look like it's slowing down. Fewer properties are selling, that's a fact, than during those peak pandemic years. But if we look a little closer, something interesting really shows up. Some of the largest luxury sales we've ever seen are still happening and happening more frequently than ever. And those deals are carrying a lot of today's market. So I want to walk you through what's actually happening in Telluride real estate right now. Hi everyone, Jonathan Yaseen here, Telluride Properties. Let's talk about what we're seeing in the market as we move through 2025 and into 2026. At a high level, the market right now really is defined by a few things. First, luxury and ultra luxury homes are driving a large share of the total dollar volume. Second, buyers have regained negotiating leverage in some parts of the market, even to an extent at the top. And third, a couple major developments are truly beginning to reshape the expectations for pricing and for future inventory. So while the number of transactions looks different than it did a few years ago, the underlying structure of the Telluride market is still really quite solid. Over the last year or so, the number of transactions in San Miguel County has truly moderated quite a bit, and that's not especially surprising. The years between 2020 and 2022 were unusually active in every ski resort town, and Telluride definitely no exception. But as transaction counts move around a bit, the total volume of real estate traded here is still really substantial. And the reason is simple. Many of the homes that are selling today are larger, higher value properties, legacy homes, increasingly brand new construction, exceptional properties in great locations. And these types of homes continue to attract buyers at all price points, especially at the very top 10, 12, 15 plus $1 million, while the lower end of our market is starting to cool off. And that's where you negotiate. With luxury real estate having always been a defining part of the Telluride market, Telluride is a destination resort now with global appeal. And a lot of buyers here are purchasing second homes and lifestyle properties. Because of that, the buyer pool tends to be a little less sensitive to short-term interest rates. What we continue to see is that truly exceptional homes tend to find buyers no matter what. And those larger transactions often carry a meaningful share of the overall market activity. Another thing that is shaping the market right now is new development. Two projects in particular are getting a lot of attention. Of course, number one is the Four Seasons private residences and hotel residences in Mountain Village. And two, the Highline residences in Mountain Village. Together, these projects represent hundreds of millions of dollars in future real estate sales. Many of those homes won't officially close for a few years as construction progresses. And because of that timing, a lot of those contracts don't even show up right away in the MLS numbers. But there's still an important signal of long-term buyer confidence in the Telluride market. At the same time, the market has become a little more balanced in certain segments. Buyers can especially start negotiating in entry-level and mid-market properties, especially compared with very tight sellers market conditions we saw during the last few years. Properties that are priced correctly still tend to sell, but listings that miss the market initially sometimes need adjustments. And in some cases, months later, they come back at a giant discount. In many cases, transactions are closing somewhere in the range of, say, 5 to 10% below the list price when properties are priced above current expectations. That's a fairly normal dynamic in a healthy real estate market. But here's the part of the Telluride market that I think people sometimes overlook. Because once you understand this piece, pricing here starts to make a lot more sense. Scarcity. The town of Telluride sits in a narrow box canyon surrounded by mountains and protected land. Surrounded by mountains and protected land like the Valley Floor Conservation Preserve. So there just simply isn't much room for expansion. And the remaining development opportunities that do exist, which are mostly in Mountain Village, are increasingly aligned with ultra luxury pricing. So, in other words, when new projects are being built in Telluride or in Mountain Village today, they tend to target the very high end of the market. No one realistically expects to see new developments of any stripe be priced in the middle of the market. Because of that, savvy buyers who are looking for opportunity often take a different approach. Instead of waiting for new inventory, they look for older properties that are in premium locations, are tired, and redevelop those properties themselves. And that's become one of the ways buyers can still create value in a market with such limited supply and still get premium locations that were originally developed in the 80s, 90s, and 2000s. When you step back at the market overall, the pattern becomes pretty clear. Demand remains strongest for luxury homes, new construction, prime locations. Meanwhile, entry level properties, no matter what their location, are behaving a little more like a traditional market where pricing and positioning does matter a lot. Taken together, this creates a market that feels selective rather than slow. If you're curious about how these trends might affect your property, your timing, or the segment of the market you're watching, we are always happy to talk through it with you. And if you'd just like a deeper breakdown of the numbers behind Telluride's real estate market, we publish a full market analysis on our website and in our newsletters. You could subscribe in the link below. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in another update.